bang bang. I don't know none of the words. Here we go. Here we go. Cruising down the street in my blah 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 blah. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to We Have Something to Say. Good morning, Kenneth. Since you're the only one on here, there's no people watching it right now. I guess we'll get some people in a minute. Did you post it on your page that we were going live? Welcome to We Have Something to Say with the handsome Leonard Watkins and the person who thinks he's handsome, Kenneth Lively, and and looking like a broke Charles Blow from the New York Times with his beard and shit. Hey, but he keep it neatly trimmed. Though. I got to give him that. My mama cannot stand this goatee I got, Kenneth. She can't stand. Every time she see it, Kenneth, she be like, "Give me some scissors. Let me cut that." She 94 with shaking hands and can't see. Good morning, Diana. I just want to say this. I've been thinking about this all week. Well, I've been thinking about this since last week. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, when Pizzagate came out in 2016 with Hillary Clinton and QAnon, did you, in your wildest dreams, think any of that could be true? In your wildest dreams. In your wildest dreams, did you think that QAnon, the person, hey Brooke, did you think QAnon, the person who's never been identified, was telling the truth? Because now you know he knew something. Did you ever believe it? And
well, I mean, hold on. Let me say something. Being in law enforcement, I knew there was a whole lot of sex trafficking going on. I already knew that.
Did you?
That wasn't anything new to me. The whole Pizzagate part of it didn't make any sense, but the rest of it, like there's a network of powerful men who sex traffic women and children and all that. Yeah, I believe that part. Well, I just didn't believe the other part.
And run the world, that they run the world, that they're in the highest levels of government. Did you believe that part? I mean, I'm like,
I could listen. I don't put anything past anybody anymore. I really don't. I've come to the point in my life a few years ago that, because every time they did one of those things, remember the ones they used to do what ABC used to do all the time with the guy catch a predator, communicate with what they thought was girl, catch a predator, those things, and they would always catch somebody in a powerful position.
True. Good point.
Stuff like that.
Good point.
That part didn't surprise me.
Good point, man. That's a valid point.
Now, the crazy thing about it is, what I didn't want to believe that there was one guy running all this shit. Now, that part right there, I wouldn't have believed.
Valid point. Valid point.
Right? Like he had this massive network of all these powerful people coming in here for this stuff. That I wouldn't have thought. A main guy doing all this. I would have never thought of that. It wouldn't have never in my thought process that it's just one guy doing this stuff.
Here's the kicker, Kenneth. This is not the first time it happened. And the first time it happened back in the early 80s, the ringleader was a black guy out of Nebraska. He was the head of the GOP, and Nebraska's name was Lonnie King. And that look you got on your face when Brian sent me this information, he said, "Look at this. This is not the first time this happened, baby. This is the first time this happened." And if you go, I'm gonna send you the Instagram that Brian sent me, and the guy goes down this whole thing. This wasn't the first time, but this is not funny because last night I went down a rabbit hole on these files, right? It's the guy that gives you the files. And this morning I listened to something about Tina Brown, who broke this case back in 2010. She did an interview with New Yorker Magazine radio podcast, and she was talking about it. And they asked her about the president And she was talking about all these victims she had interviewed. And here's the one that got me. The one that got her got me. She said they had the Palm Beach Police Department put out a tip line. They were getting all these tips. All this is in the files. And one of the tips came from someone who said that they were in the room while this 13-year-old girl, Donald Trump, was having oral sex with this 13-year-old girl, and she made a mistake and bit him, and he slapped her. And she said, you know, in light of some of the stuff we see and are seeing in the emails, no, this is not far-fetched. And
no, none of this. Well, if you let's go back a little bit before we even knew about Epstein and this big conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, what thing he had that we found out about. Donald Trump, years, had been mad about his own daughter when she was a teenager, talking about how beautiful she was. Remember those?
Yes.
She's sitting on his lap and talking about she wasn't my daughter, I'd date her. He actually said that. So that right there was giving me pedophile creep vibes right then when I heard him say that. And I'm like, who would say that about their daughter?
Absolutely. Here's the other thing. You got Lutnick.
That's telling me right there, your mindset right there.
You have Lutnick.
Excuse me. I say what?
I said you have Lutnick who lied about it, but here's what gets me. In 2013, he took his whole family with some young teenage daughters to Epstein's Island. After you know he's been convicted and he got this sweetheart deal from Acosta. You go to his island. What? Look, I'm going to say it. I'm so glad Larry David said it last week. I'm going to say it. It's a whole bunch of goddamn white Jewish men on this fucking list, like Larry David, who's Jewish, said. This is like, okay, y'all seem to be on some other shit. Like as a man, I asked my little brother this last night. I said, what could possibly turn you on about a 14-year-old? She's not a woman. And what? It's just so far. Like what? You know, and the stuff that's come out about. But look. If you all get a chance, anybody wants it, I'll send you the link to the podcast with Tina Brown. And one thing she said was one thing I've been saying. That's why Brian sent it to me. Was a lot of this what you're seeing. She said, in her opinion, from looking at all the files and all the investigations she was doing, that all these people got caught up in this web. She said a lot of these guys in private. It's what I've been saying. You can trace all this back to personalities you've seen in high school on the playground. I've said this since day one. Brian will tell you that. That's the guys that did not know how to talk to girls in high school. And this is their revenge. And she says that these the guys that didn't think they could get girls. You know. And they were scared to talk to girls. And as they became more successful and girls becoming more attractive to what they could bring to the table, blah, blah, blah. This is Elon Musk. When you have 13 kids by 6 different women, and you go back and look at him when he started from PayPal.
I don't know. I don't care.
That's not the point. I'm not caring whether you care or not. I'm saying what is their driving force to do some of this stuff. That's what I'm talking about. What is your drive? You got everything you want in the world. You have everything you want in abundance.
I'll say this, and then you're right. And I have a friend, real good friend of mine, who went to school with R. Kelly, and he said R. Kelly got no love in high school, got no play or nothing like that in high school. But he was sexually assaulted. Part of the reason why he went after all these young girls.
And he was sexually assaulted.
I don't know about that, but I just know he just never got any by who?
He was sexually assaulted by a relative or a neighbor.
By who?
He said that publicly now. That's been coming out publicly. R. Kelly, I'll look it up for you. Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay, but who sexually assaulted him?
Kenneth, I don't know who sexually assaulted.
But
I'm just
it's this thing of, like you said, dating. Oh, okay, well, I was asking was a man or a woman. That's why I was asking. But the thing is this.
Doesn't matter.
You're right. Those type of people, they get no love in high school. They got, huh?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Actually, it kind of does. Actually, it does matter. But the point I'm trying to make is they got no love in high school. Nobody gave them any love, paid attention to them, or anything like that.
Hey, Eileen.
And as they became adults, good morning, Eileen. When they became adults, they tried to get something they couldn't get in, and when they were in high school. Now, having said that, that doesn't justify what they did, what they're doing, or what to continue to do. That makes no sense to me. I really and truly, I just don't understand that mentality. Because when I was a teenage boy, I was trying to get with older girls. I mean, I loved it. That Glen Hills, we had some nice looking young ladies at our school. But when I got to college, I was like, oh my God, these grown women walking around here.
Kenneth, what I'm saying to you is this. This is what I'm saying to you. They have a hatred of women. You can only treat people like this when you have disdain. And that's the point. You don't have a hatred of women. They grew up and they still they still act like this. When you could just treat women when you could treat women the way they're saying that these people have treated women, you're treating them like literally like garbage. When I send you this podcast, she talks about this. Huh? That 8 mil. They treat them like garbage.
StreamYard is acting up again.
Oh yeah, I'm cool with StreamYard today. When they treat them like just things to be discarded, and they couldn't do grown women like that, so they go after little girls, and she's saying that he had scouts in almost every country, particularly Eastern European bloc countries. He went after people who he knew were in foster care. They went after people who particularly young girls who they knew who thought they were at a dead end, foster care, knew what their relationship with their parents were, knew that they were vulnerable. And she said some of these girls fell in love with Jeffrey Epstein because they were young. He just did these men that you're talking about, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel's gay, we can't talk about him, Steve Bannon, all these people, that if you couldn't see your daughter in some of these girls, you just don't like women. It has nothing to do with it. And you ask yourself, where does that come from? And it's like the revenge of the nerds. From the people on the list. It's like the revenge of the nerds, like Bill Gates, like.
Well, hey, let's think about something. Think about this. When you said if you can't see your own daughter in some of these girls, that's part of what they did. See, Trump himself. I mean, you saw him. This man publicly lusted after his own daughter. So he did see his daughter in some of them. He did see that. So it's a sick mentality, but I don't want to frame it as a mental health problem. I really don't want to do that because that's going to give some of them an out. I'm not trying to give them an out. It's not a mental health problem. It's you never grew up, you hate women, and you want to punish anybody you can, any young woman you can, because you didn't get no play in high school. Let's just call it what it is. That's what it is. And there's a point I wanted to make about this. They went after R. Kelly for doing this. They went after Bill Cosby Bill Cosby didn't do young girls, but for drugging women and raping them and all that. Puffy, they went after him. When are they going after all these white men? When are they going after them? And to be quite honest, I'm gonna say this because I know it shouldn't. It may not happen, but the state attorney generals and the DAs in the areas where this took place need to go after these people, because if the crime was committed in their jurisdiction, they can prosecute them. They don't have to wait for the federal government to do it, because we know right now the DOJ is not going to do a damn thing to any of them.
Okay, you brought the racial.
We're gonna have to wait until Trump and his minions and his criminal-minded minions get out of office before we get these young ladies get some justice. Say what now?
You brought the racial part in here, so I'm a.
Oh, you mean the racial component?
I will. You said they went after all the black men. I will say.
Yeah. Of course.
I will say this to you again, and I said this time and time again. If you aren't at the table, you're on the menu, like the Prime Minister for Canada said. We are on the menu. We're not on the table. We don't have any. He did not invite so far in the emails, except for Clarence Thomas. He is not one African American, not only African American, doesn't seem like this, except for Acosta. There's not one person so far of color that was invited to any of these parties. These were all very rich Jewish people and very rich Protestants. And the Protestants were there to be blackmailed. That's what they were there for. And it's a guy on Instagram that just breaks down the files. He even invented a AI search engine that he's giving away for free, so you can go through the files, just punching people's names. And anybody wants that, I'll send that to him too. And you're not even in the parking lot. And if we want to, and I always tell you, we had these conversations all the time. I try to bring it back down to how does this affect our community? You have no influence because you've given up your influence. Because you don't move in some way, because you think that rugged individualism has been great for black people. It has not. So you're not in the Epstein files because you don't matter. Because they see you as powerless. That's why they don't invite you, because there's nothing they think that you can bring to the table but consumerism. There's not, Obama and Michelle wouldn't have won anyway, thank God. But there's not any other powerful, not Rob Johnson, not Robert Smith, not you name it. They weren't invited to these parties. Because in his files, he talks about racial stuff. In the files, that race comes up. You aren't seen as anybody that moves shit, our community anymore. That's not what we're seen as. And there's a reason for that. Because we don't move as a group. We talk about this all the time. It's like ad nauseum. So even though Marion doesn't give a flying up about Jeffrey Epstein, it says a lot. It says something that there was nobody of any influence that he felt he should have that could change the trajectory of whatever the hell he was doing, whether you believe he was a Mossad agent or a CIA agent. He was running a honeypot trap, which is how he got so much money, is that people would come into that Manhattan townhome or Palm Beach, and there was cameras everywhere, and he would get these people in these compromised positions. These files are about to bring down the whole British government, if y'all haven't been paying attention. The whole British government. The second in charge under Steimer, who they're trying to make him step down because it's politics now. The second in charge and the third in charge has resigned. The second in charge called Jeffrey Epstein minutes before Europe was about to give a $500 billion bailout either to Turkey or Greece to say, hey, this is about to happen, so that he can manipulate the stock market. The second in charge. And now you watch the videos that have come out that shows this man, second in charge of the British government, walking around with young girls, 14, and they got their face blacked out in bikinis. 14. Young girls from Eastern Europe and stuff like that. 14. And Steimer saying he didn't know anything about it. And I haven't forgot about the boys. This is power and dominance, because there are some men in there who like little boys. That wasn't really what he marketed it, but he knew that was a part of it. Jeffrey Epstein didn't market little boys. He marketed little girls and young girls. You don't have anybody in our community that has that type of power. And there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. And yeah, I think the question I have, Kenneth, is Biden had all this information, so why didn't the administration do anything about it? What was the political calculus and strategy for that? You had it. What was the political? Was it the Clintons? Anyway, go ahead, bro. What was the political?
Okay. Hey, listen, this thing is messing up, so I was listening to it on the phone, and it's a delay.
Okay.
So that's why I said, hold on a second. I want to see what that question you asked. I thought that was what you were asking, but I want to make sure. That's a good question. Why nobody did anything about this? I really and truly, the thing that gets me is the fact that this has been, people have been knowing about this for years. Epstein, he got arrested. What was it, 2003 or something? I'm not sure what it was, but he knew all this. They knew all this stuff about him. They could have arrested a whole bunch of these people. The information was there. It wasn't anything that that was let's just say it was a well-known secret among Department of Justice. Members of the Department of Justice. Why they never went after this dude, or why even after they went after him, they allowed that U.S. attorney in Florida to give him such a sweetheart deal, and he gave nothing up. He got nothing for. He got a sweetheart deal and got nothing. The DOJ got nothing for it. So I don't know why it's why nobody did anything about this. But the funny thing is, it is because of Trump and his followers, his MAGA supporters, that all this stuff is coming out now. They're the one that drug all this stuff up. The rest of us were pretty much oblivious to it. We were oblivious to it. So they're the ones who drug all this stuff up. And Trump himself championing it, all that stuff, because that's the red meat that his followers wanted. And now that he's getting caught up in it, he's trying everything he can to get out of it. And I'm sure some of the people who are part of the Heritage Foundation and all those other organizations that are pushing Project 2025, I'm sure they're in there too. I'm sure they're in there. That's why everybody's fighting not to get this release or get these people held accountable. Because if they start holding some of them accountable, what's going to happen? Their entire plan is going to fall apart. Everything's going to fall apart.
The whole system.
That's why they're doing this.
Might come down.
At this point, I think they'd rather that Trump died. Yeah. At this point, I think they'd rather that Trump died before all this stuff comes out.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Democrats, there's some Democrats.
I really do. I really do believe that. They hope he dies before this, because if this stuff comes out, yeah, I don't. You know what? I don't care what your political affiliation is. All you motherfuckers need to go to jail.
Every last one of them.
Go to prison. I'm serious. Whatever your political affiliation is, whatever your ethnicity, race, whatever demographic you fall under, if you're a part of this shit, every single one of you need to be locked up. I don't care who you are. And the other part of it too, there's two things I want to say.
Go ahead.
I read something last night where Uncle Luke Campbell, 2 Live Crew Luke, he said he went to a party, and I forgot what year he said. He went to a party down in Mar-a-Lago. That's when Trump still liked black people, And he said it was, and I don't know what the reason for the party was, but he said it was about sex. He figured that out real quick. And he also figured out that there was a whole bunch of young girls in there. And he said, nope, I got to go. That's what Luke said now. And if y'all don't remember, Mar-a-Lago is, what's his name, is Trump's place. And this is, and I forgot the year, but it was 2000 something. He said he went. He was like, no, I'm out. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I don't want to be no part of this. And he left. That's one thing I want to mention. So he's a witness. And this was at Trump's place. Now, this was at Trump's place. The other thing I want to mention, other countries are now releasing the files. Somehow they got copies of them. They're releasing them. And they're holding their people accountable in their countries. And what they can do is put out warrants for these people who are in the files if they did something in their country. They can put out warrants for them for that. Because Ghislaine Maxwell keeps trying to get a pardon from the U.S. government for all this from Trump. One, to keep her silent, or two, to tell what she knows. Either way, she's like, I'm going to deal. One thing that could happen even if she gets a deal, other countries could put a warrant out for her arrest, and she could face charges in those other countries. From Europe, period, and brought them to the United States, or even did something in those countries with those girls. If she was a part of that, which she was, she could be tried in those states. in those countries for those crimes. The Virgin Islands, where Epstein Island was, they should do something about it. They should have access to these files, and they can charge these people with them. Because if you came to Epstein Island and you participated in these parties, guess what? You committed a crime in the Virgin Islands. They can do something. Now, I don't know if it was the U.S. Virgin Islands or the American or British Virgin Islands. But it really doesn't make a difference because all of even the British Virgin, the U.S. Virgin Islands can charge them under, even though they're a territory, but they're territorial crimes. It's like a state crime, and they can't be pardoned by the federal government at all. If they committed a crime there and charged with, like if somebody commits a crime here in Georgia and it's a federal crime, the government can, the president can pardon them. But if they're charged with a state crime, the president cannot pardon them. One Virgin Islands, they had this, the island was on, they can charge the co-conspirators with that. Under local laws, local state, local or territorial laws. That's not a state.
So
territorial laws. They can do that.
Have the right to charge.
There's people out there that can do something about this. And they need to step up and start doing it. We can't sit back and wait on the federal government to do anything because they're going to slow walk this as long as possible. They're trying.
Marion, this is what I'm going to say to you. First, you want me to give you, Kenneth. You are glitching. You are glitching bad, Kenneth. Really bad.
Until Donald Trump either he dies, he leaves office.
Marion wants us to. Marion, the one that tells us to do
what now?
Marion, the one who tells us to do sensationalist stories, doesn't want us to do sensationalist stories today. He wants to know, how does Epstein help increase the black vote? In addition, will it help us in the midterms and beyond? So Marion wants us to focus on getting black people out to vote in the midterms. And what I would say to that is, we do our part every Saturday to implore anybody that's watching this show at any time, to keep talking to people about voting in the midterms. And you know my position on that. My position on that is we could do a little bit of what we're doing, and that's what we do. But at the end of the day, if y'all mofos are not willing to come out and talk against the biggest institution in the community, and I to say, what is our souls to the poll strategy starting today? And how you're going to call them out, and how we're going to use the biggest, most powerful institution in our community to drive voter registration. How you going to get people to be willing to talk to the language of some of these kids that you need? How you going to get voter turnout to be bigger than 21% in Georgia like it was for the last special election? How you going to convince Black folks, besides us, because all of us vote, what you want me to do? We become complacent. We don't want to. I've seen it's funny. I've seen in the last week, two ads or two things about our two reps from this area, two African American females who I'm hesitant to criticize, have come out. I haven't seen them all goddamn year. I haven't seen one thing all goddamn year. A large part of that's because they don't have the money, because we don't support them in their PACs and in their campaign coffers, so they can go out and do stuff, and they spend the money on their own. You got Tanya Miller running for lieutenant governor that can't raise the money she needs to raise, and maybe y'all ought to go and send her $25, $30. We have not shown the will, or, you and I disagree with Kenneth on this, because Kenneth says everybody needs to play their part, and you and I say, yeah, but somebody has to have the cachet to be able to. Y'all didn't spend too much time on Diddy, or I believe I Can Touch the Sky, man. We didn't, but you told me to. You told me to. So I don't know, how much we can beat that dead horse, unless we, the 15 to 20 people to come on here collectively say we're going to get a small group and we're going to focus our energies on this, our time and our money. How are we going to get the NAACP to jump on it? It's one thing to get on here and talk shit. I mean, I'm not saying you do, because you don't. You do. I know you personally. I know how much money you give. But what are other people doing? It needs to be a wave, a black wave, literally. And I don't see enough people even talking about it on Facebook. Yeah, I know you sent Tanya some money. I went down and sent her some money. I heard what you call it, but I don't even see Black people. Unless Stacey, I follow Stacey all the time, and unless Stacey can tell me she's seen the outcry of people on Skip Mason's Vanishing History. Last year on Stacey on Skip Mason's Vanishing History, I kept talking about Janelle King. Why in the hell we weren't running her out of the metropolitan Atlanta? A North Carolina A&T graduate up there is talking about changing voting laws that would disenfranchise Black people. And you couldn't get a fucking peep off people from Skip Mason's Vanishing History. People who are college educated. What the hell? And I would go down to the election board hearings and listen to Janelle King and think, man, what are her and her husband doing? What are we doing here? Under no circumstances, I'm going to do anything that might diminish the Black voting power. Yeah, not on Skip's page. That's my point. They don't even comment, but let some bullshit come up, 100,000 people, and all them motherfuckers comment then. All of them. I got people, Stacey, the other day, they comment about the Walmart around the corner, don't know what the hell they talking about. Just talking shit. But they ain't doing shit. Just some keyboard warriors. If 20,000, Skip told 20,000 of those people, we need door knockers and we need y'all out there. He can't even move the people he got on his page in the same direction. This needs to crash like 1929 before Black folks wake up, in my old ass opinion. Exactly. But let this, Stacey, let the Dr. James story come out. Everybody and their mama want to comment about that bullshit. And that doesn't mean I don't think Morris Brown is important, but it's not the most important thing to me and what our community needs. For everybody and their mama commenting on that. And I don't pull no punches with black men. Walk up on me and ask me about my opinions. I'll tell you to your goddamn face. You've been acting like fucking cowards. You ain't willing to do the work. You comfortable. It ain't your problem. All these people that benefited from that 1965 Civil Rights Bill, and not one person, Stacey, you know that, gets on there and talks about it. Who was born in Atlanta and that bullshit? Like I give a fuck. Been in Atlanta since 1983. What, you gonna take my Atlanta credentials? Morehouse started in Augusta. Literally, Morehouse started in Augusta. Literally, there's no Morehouse College without Augusta, Georgia. But you can't get them to talk about that. On all my sports page, you can't get them. Oh, man, this is not the place for politics. My politics is all into sports. No, the school is important to me. I'm in the neighborhood. I'm one of the ones that we're talking about the stadium. It's important to me too. I'm just saying it's not the most important thing with what we're dealing with in November. That's all I'm saying. And Morris Brown should have never went under anyway. Black people didn't come up with the money to save Morris Brown. It wasn't but $13 million. Two brothers owned the bond. It's 47 million people. That's 13 million people sitting in $1. I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I'm not afraid to say that in any room, any amongst any bourbon group, any brothers who want to sit down and watch football. I don't give a fuck. I got too many things that could happen to my grandkids to sit back and worry about whether y'all comfortable or not, because you just sitting your ass around and not recognize they taking out voting rights. So what else you want me to do, Mary? Go ahead, Kenneth. Kenneth, can you hear me? Oh, absolutely. 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 I could tell you stories about that up and down. Absolutely. He saw an opportunity. Absolutely. 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 You and I can talk about that all day. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the stuff he saw and some of the stuff he took advantage of.
Yeah, I'm getting like half the stuff that you're saying.
Okay.
I really, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go switch to my phone at some point, because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
This bullshit is getting ridiculous. Thing about Morris Brown, and I wasn't sure exactly what it was. I was kind of listening to it while you were doing it. Hopefully y'all can hear me.
I can hear you.
I remember when Morris Brown was thinking about closing, Tom Joyner actually offered to give them the $13 million. He said, I'll buy the school. I'll give you the $13 million. But at some point we need to start using, well, let me go back a little bit, because I respond to something that Marion was saying about we didn't spend this much time talking about Diddy or R. Kelly or whatever. And we didn't. But, and that we should focus on getting people out to vote. We talk about that at nauseum. We talk about that all the time. That's one of the main things we talk about. And we're going to continue to talk about that. We need to, if Black people aren't motivated to get out and vote now, I don't know what's going to motivate them. I really don't. I can't understand what your motivation is. What would motivate you? All the stuff that's going on, lost. All the benefits we've lost. All the craziness going on around the country. If you aren't motivated to vote, what the hell is going to motivate you? What the hell is going to motivate you? I mean, you know those people who are saying that the talking about the people don't elect people. The electoral college is what elects people and all that, which is some bullshit. That means you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But irregardless of, forget that part. Even the people who talking about our vote don't count should understand when we don't vote, it works out bad for us. Us, people who look like us. Stuff gets bad for us. And we keep every 4 years, we seem to forget that what it was like before. And really and truly, it's more about party than it is anything else. We seem to forget what it was like under the last Bush administration. Because we had 8 years of Obama and things that worked out pretty good for us. Things started looking good for us. Things started working out. Then Trump came in. Shit went bad for us real quick. Biden came in, things started going right again. We seem to forget what it was like during the first Trump administration. Then you had some dumbass talking about, well, Trump gave me a check. He didn't give you a goddamn thing, you stupid motherfucker. He didn't give you shit. That was Congress that did that. But even if it did happen, Biden gave you money too. Or at least he gave your baby mama's money. Because she got $500 per child. Or was it $500 per child? Something like that. I think it was something like that. $500 per child. So, but you didn't know about that because
you're right. Folks forgot about COVID.
We were enslaved. Our ancestors were enslaved. That was the last time our we were that part. But y'all don't care about that shit. Because you think this racist white man's ice is colder than our ice. I can't hear what you're saying, Leonard.
I ain't saying anything.
Yeah, Harry, you're right. They forgot about COVID. And all the people who died listening to him don't wear masks, drink bleach, all kind of stupid shit.
I'm missing what
they always talk about that. Do that Janet Jackson shit. What have you done for me lately? Trump is president again. Every time he gets near the presidency, the White House, shit get fucked up. Now our unemployment rate is higher than it's been in years for no goddamn reason. It's been estimated 300,000 black women lost their job because you got people in all over the country who ain't done nothing wrong, get swept up by ICE and getting killed. American citizens getting swept up. And just because you think you're black, do you think this shit won't happen to you? I tell my students this shit all the time. I said, just because you black, that don't mean they won't come get you too. And it doesn't mean you're American. It don't care if you're an American citizen. Because Somalis are black too. They may not act like they're black. They may not think they're black, but they look like the rest of us. So they come get you too.
And they ain't no big fan of us.
So all this shit that our people are sitting back. Oh no, they ain't. They don't care. They waiting for us to get a part of protest. They really waiting for that shit.
No, I'm saying that the only reason
they're slowing down that ICE shit.
I agree, Keith.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The only reason they slowed down that ICE shit because they killed 2 white people. That's it. That's it. Bottom line, they killed 2 white people, and it was caught on tape. It was no. If there were no video of these incidents, they would not be under the gun. They would still be doing that bullshit in Minnesota. And I saw last night where they're trying to move into Baltimore to do shit. So black people in Baltimore, in Maryland, DMV, and there's a whole lot of people who are whole lot of people from the continent of Africa living in that area because of one, there's colleges, and 2, there's a chain migration, especially a lot of Ethiopians living in the DC area, Eritreans and all of them living in the DC area. They chain migration, they family member moved, they follow them over here, and they could be here legally. They literally could be here legally, no problems. But ICE can still sweep in and snatch you up.
And
so don't think because you are black and you've been here for a long time that they won't try to get you.
And the SAVE Act just passed the House yesterday. The SAVE Act. They're telling you that you can't even use your driver's license anymore. It's headed to the Senate. They're saying you can't use your driver's license.
Oh, yeah. I was going to get to that. I was going to get to the SAVE Act. I didn't know the SAVE Act says this. Right. You have to have a passport or your birth certificate in order to vote. That's what they're doing. Now, this is the crazy thing. Remember I told y'all in the, I think it's the 10th Amendment. And what's her name? What's your friend from Chicago? What's her name?
Robert? Stephanie.
You know what I'm talking about? I can't. I don't know if you glitching or I'm glitching.
Her name is Stephanie.
Stephanie. Was it Stacy?
Stephanie. Anyway, go ahead.
I said Stephanie.
You said Stacy. That's all right. Go ahead.
I said Stephanie. Anyway, first I said Stacy and I knew it was wrong. I know. Then I changed it, said Stephanie. Anyway, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. The 10th Amendment says anything that's not mentioned in the Constitution, powers of the federal government is left up to the states. One word that's not mentioned in the Constitution in terms of that's left up to the states is voting. States, everything in this is mentioned in the Constitution, but it basically says that states have the power to run elections the way they want to, which is the reason why we end up having the Voting Rights Act to begin with, because states were discriminating against blacks, preventing blacks from voting and all that stuff. So now they're reversing it because they wanted states' rights before. Now they're reversing it and saying that the federal government is now saying you can't vote if you don't have a passport, or if you don't have a passport, or you don't have your birth certificate with your name on it, your actual name, not the name. This is the crazy thing. Your name now on your driver's license has to match what's on your birth certificate. So if you're a woman and you got married and you changed your name, either hyphenated your name or just changed your name to your husband's last name, according to this SAVE Act, you can't vote because your name on your driver's license does not match on your birth certificate. Other be a valid passport, can't be an old one, has to be a valid one, so it has to be up to date. Not everybody has a valid passport or passport at all. So you're knocking out a whole segment of the population.
People. Wait, particularly black people.
And say they can't vote because poor people, for the most part, don't have passports. I was a grown man before I got my first passport. Literally, a grown man. I didn't get out right before I got 28, 29 when I got 20 or 30 when I got married. I didn't get a passport till I was either 29 or 30. So if, under this law, I wouldn't have been able to vote at all until I got that passport. And then on top of that, my passport expired. And I forgot all about it. And it expired because I wasn't going anywhere internationally. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, shoot, this thing expired. And I renewed it. So during that time period that it had expired, I would have been able to vote according to this. And then on top of that, this is something else crazy. I found out the way that I spell my middle name, excuse me, was not the way it was spelled on my birth certificate. And I thought, like I had gotten a copy of my birth certificate. I noticed the discrepancy. I thought it was a mistake. I never bothered to check with my mother and never bothered to check with, I was born in DC and never bothered to check with whatever the department is that dealt with birth certificates. Never bothered to check with them until somebody pointed out I was applying for a job. And they said, well, you can't get the job because your birth certificate don't match your driver's license. And I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, you're right. So I had to go through this whole process of finding out. First, I contacted them, the Department of Vital Statistics, that's what they call it in DC. I contacted them and said, hey, y'all spelled my name wrong on my birth certificate. And okay, we'll go back and find the original one and see how it's spelled. They sent me a letter. It's like, oh no, Mr. Lively, hey, this is how it's spelled on the birth certificate. Here's a picture of it. It's like, oh shit. So then I was like, how did you spell my name on birth certificate? And she said, well, I don't know. That's 50-something or 40-something years ago. I don't know. I don't know how I spelled it. I said, and I spelled that on there. I should remember if she could do, since my entire I wrote it one way, I had to go to literally had to go to DC. I had to go to DC and put it in the application, change spelling it my whole life. And I had the money to do it, had the time to do it, all of that. And I was able to do it. So imagine somebody who doesn't have the money, who doesn't live in the city or the state where they were born, doesn't even know that their name is misspelled on there. Because I saw it. I just thought there was a typo on there. And I was like, ain't no big deal. Nobody going to pay attention to it. And it just so happens one person paid attention to it. My whole life, nobody had ever noticed it. Everybody assumed like me, it was just a typo. And this one person said, it's spelled differently. Well, you can't get this job because it's spelled differently. So imagine having to do that just to vote. Just to vote. Now, as people have been saying online, well, it's possible to do all this. Of course it is. But why do I have to do it? In order to get a driver's license, I have to show them my birth certificate. So a state ID or state driver's license is a legal document based upon your birth certificate. That's who you are. This is what my birth certificate says. This is what my driver's license says. The two of them match. Oh, okay, cool. Here's your driver's license. Why is that not enough? And why is the federal government trying to stop people from voting because of a damn driver's license, because of a birth certificate or passport? Why? Because they don't want us to vote. And it just passed in the House. It passed, and it's probably going to pass in the Senate. They don't put that in the law.
They don't know if they have the votes in the Senate right now. Because
it's probably going to pass in the Senate too.
Right. It's a few Republicans that don't want to take state rights away from voting, and a couple of Republicans.
But the thing is, why would they do it?
Because they want to be in control of the federal government. You watching the grift? That's why. Because white men want to be in control, and they're scared of the black vote. It's all about going after white women. And black
my whole thing is, they're doing this. If this thing is glitching again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If you're saying something, it's you froze on my end.
Okay. I don't know a lot of Black people who have their passports. And it hasn't passed the Senate. It went to the Senate last week. Right now, they're telling you to call your senators. But here's the point that we were talking about, because all this whole conversation started because of what Marion said, which is, and then Robert Anderson, thanks for coming, Robert. Robert came on. What else do you damn need? And that's why Marion said, and the bottom needs to fall out on the Black community. Because, again, Stacey and I are part of Skip Nason's Vanishing History, and that's one of the things that pops up in my page. And I say this all the time. Kenneth and I had this conversation all the time. You don't get enough people amongst my friends commenting about political shit. And I'm always like, what are y'all doing? There is only one assignment right now. There is no other assignment. That's why I tell you, don't send me pictures of your vacations. I don't care. There's only one assignment. Trump can't take over states' rights right now. He can send in the National Guards. He still couldn't take over state rights. There's too many white folks that ain't ready to let. Brian Kemp is one of them. Raffensperger is one of them. But the point is, yeah, y'all know why they doing this. The point is, what else will motivate people to get on one accord in our community? Like if it's not the 1965 Civil Rights Act and voting, we have utterly failed our community if we didn't let the people know how important this is. Jewish people send their kids to school on Saturday to learn about the Holocaust. Every Saturday, they got to go up every Saturday. Every Saturday, Jewish people send their kids to school, the Jewish schools say, do not forget, do not forget, do not forget, do not forget. And y'all better believe, whether you like it or not, Jewish people, progressive ones too, are not about to let the land that they call Israel go. They will never, ever be out of a place they can go ever again. And they teach their kids that. What is about us that we haven't? And again, I'm not trying to pick on Skip's page. I'm just saying, when you have that, I belong to another group I got off called 100 Black Fathers, because they don't talk about this. 100,000 plus people on that page. And these mofos talking about bullshit. And in 5 months, we need to, what was it? We're in the second month, we're going to the third month. So we got 7 months after that, or 8 months after that we need to be talking about coalescing around getting these fools out and getting all of us to vote at 85 to 90% of the registered voters. So we're talking about 30 million Black folks. And they talking about what? The biggest thing you can get on those pages is some bullshit. Stacey, you know when the puppy thing was going, that's all they talked about. Even on the Spelman Morehouse pages. I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? I could care less about that. That has nothing to do with policy. Or you want to talk about the Montgomery boat movement? What the fuck are y'all talking about? It did not change any policy. Alabama has the most oppressive voting rights for Black people in the country. You think I give a damn about a folding chair? How did y'all translate that into changing policy in Alabama? There's one majority Black voting district in Alabama. One. There used to be 3. Because we still have stupid ass people. Right. I was raised that you had to go vote. I hope I've relayed that back to my children. So now we're here. So I can keep complaining about it. Now we're here. Now we're here. So what are we going to do? Because these are our children. We are about to leave this. So when Marion says, well, what are we going to do? Hell. Be willing to get on some of these sites and talk shit. 100,000 Black fathers don't talk about this, then the political, financial, social rapture is on. Oh, that Marion. I talked to the founder of that page. Literally, this is a short story. I'm going to stop. I literally talked to the founder of that page. He started a 501c3. He couldn't get those men to send 50 cents. 50 cents. He literally said, I asked him to send $1 to a 501c3. 501c that they asked me to start.
Let me say something. When my kids were young, I said,
They wouldn't send $1. He said, Leonard, they wouldn't send $1. It damaged his marriage. He said he was spending so much time. They were wondering what he would do with $1. $1. You had guys coming and going, man, I don't know what you're going to do with that $1. I'll be like, what? He created a page, and now you're worried about what he's going to do with $1? After you asked him to create the 501c3 all throughout the damn thing, you asked him, he moved to Panama. He said he was so frustrated. Because like Stacy said, niggas don't want to do shit. You just talk shit. From my school to Skiggy to Howard, all of y'all we just talk shit. Why they taking
Keith,
away
what do you
everything?
mean by it? Keith, what do you mean by
what Keith say? What did Keith say? I'm sorry. What are we going to do about it? I agree. First, you better have the will to move your money where it's going to
Okay, well, when you say fundamentals, what does he mean? Explain what the fundamentals are.
What are the fundamentals, Keith? Everybody's waiting for your answer. And then we'll talk about our choice for governor.
Well, Eileen.
What do you mean, Keith? Type it in what you mean, Keith. Everybody's waiting for your answer.
Just explain, because his definition of fundamentals may be different from mine. But so, Eileen, this is our choices for governor. I'll say this: any of the Democrats, any of them would be better, far better than what we got right now. What we need to do.
No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't.
Boy, these
no, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't. No, they won't.
Why do you say that?
No, Kenneth. No, they won't. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you what I've been told. Let me tell you what I've been told. I'm about to tell you. Let me tell you what I've been told in some private rooms that people won't say publicly. You hear this a lot, but I'm telling you what I've heard. If you trust me enough, you do not want Bert Carr in that position. If you black, you do not want Bert Carr under any circumstance. Do you want Bert Carr? You do not want him in that position. If you are African American, I've been told this by people who walk in those circles. You do not want him. I've been told by white people who walk in those circles who say you do not want him. Go and look up his history and his family's history. Now you got this new businessman who's just as bad, who's about to spend $50 million of his own money. $50 million of his own money because he sees the grip.
Ricky Jackson, the Republican.
Yeah, Ricky Jackson is his name. Now he's going after Bert Carr because he wants to be the Trump.
Yeah.
So he wants to be
he grew up as a shoe shine boy.
Right. And
I was a shoe shine boy. I sold this and sold that, sold scalp tickets.
You don't want to touch him. Brian Kemp plays politics.
Well, he's a Republican. No. I said any Democrat. I didn't say Republicans.
Okay, my bad. I thought you said any candidate. My bad.
Oh, hell no. You know damn well I would never say nothing like that. But the thing is this: behind all of these people, there's not much except for what's old boy's name that switched from the Republicans to the Democrats. Former lieutenant governor. What is his name?
Jeff Duncan.
Yeah.
You talking about
now Jeff Duncan? Up until Trump got in, he was all and did all this stuff with the election. He was down for everything that Trump did. He was down for it. So I wouldn't vote for him because before Trump started going severely off the rails, when he was leaning off the rails, you supported it. So as soon as he went completely off the rails, that's when you decided to leave the Republican Party. But they've been doing stuff like this. They've been doing stuff like this to us for centuries. So I wouldn't vote for him just because of that. It took Trump for you to doing something extreme for you to leave the Republican Party. Now he wants to bank on that to become the governor. And we don't know if you had a change of heart. We just know you had a change of party. So I like Keisha. I like Keisha Lance Bottoms. And the reason why I like Keisha, because I just the fact, well, let's just say this. I'll be real with it. Having a governor named Keisha, to me, is just the ultimate right there. A governor named Keisha. That right there, I really, for the most part, I kind of like what she did in Atlanta. She was in there during a tough time during COVID, and a lot got thrown at her, and she got blamed for a lot of stuff that didn't have anything to do with her. But until COVID hit, she was doing a very good job. Then COVID just threw her administration through a loop. It just threw it out, and which it did to a lot of cities. That was a difficult time because she was a black woman, and down here in the South, and you got a governor that. But I do like.
Then why don't we have an honest conversation about that, Eileen and Kenneth?
I like.
Why don't we have an honest
conversation?
Process? Well,
the other black candidate, I don't really know much about him. Say what now?
I said we should have an honest conversation about Keisha Lance Bottoms, which is, do you think she can win? And do you think a majority of African American men in the state who vote will vote for Keisha Lance Bottoms? It's open. And I would venture to say no. I don't think they'll vote. So if you're asking me what I'm going to do strategically, I think I will fall back on what Ida B. Wells did a long time ago, which she said, I voted for Herbert Hoover because, hell, he wasn't going to come after me like his opponent, our community, like his opponent was when she voted, and Herbert Hoover was a avowed racist. But there were degrees of racism. And I'm still hopeful that some humans can see the error of their ways, and that Jeff Duncan does not want his kids or his grandkids. He may want them growing up in some sense of white supremacy, white people to still run, or he believes that, but it ain't as bad as these other dudes. It is not as bad as some of these other dudes. The black guy don't really know. I've heard he's a good guy, but statewide, who knows him? You know, how much money does Keisha? How much money do they have? How much money are we sending these people? And we talk a good game, but how much money are we sending? Campaigns cost money. And are they raising money at the grassroots? I mean, the only one that seems to be able to not have to worry about corporate money at this stage of the game is Jasmine and AOC, because they can raise money from regular people. 1 million people sending $5 or $10 or $20. Campaigns cost money. You know, her being on social media, I've heard that from another black woman, does not bother me, because I understand that she has to do certain things as a woman in order to get the algorithm, in order to get the eyes before she can even talk about her policy. So she has to use her looks and her cooking and all that other stuff. I think y'all got to let that go. This is social media. And that's why you see so many people saying dumb, crazy stuff. That's us being dinosaurs. That's why Marion comes and tells me and Kenneth, y'all need to talk about this, because it's like you got to get the eyes in order to get the message across. You got to get people to watch you to get the message across. Her doing what she did on social media didn't ever really bother me, because I think she was trying to appeal to a certain demographic in order to get them to listen to anything she says. Look at what Ricky Jackson's doing. He got enough money to bob the airwaves and talk that BS he's talking, but he is no friend to black folks. So, but it's 11:10, y'all. I've got to get out of here, Kenneth. I got to go. I got to be somewhere at 11:30. Can you hear me? I don't think Kenneth can hear me. We're gonna work on his audio for next week, sir, folks. Stacy, I'm gonna give you a call today. Like I said, I don't know where you all sit or what you're gonna do. I don't have the patience to be nice about it, and I'm just blunt about it. I'm kind of like Stacy on that. Hey, unfriend me. We got way more important stuff than for me to talk about football on these patterns and stuff like that. I'm not trying to do it, and you know, we don't have that many months to be set back like my friend Robert Anderson said. We got a few months. They're trying to codify, and that's the word I'm looking, codify what they want to do to the community that they fear the most. And I will say this till I'm blue in the face. They do not fear a voting block the way they fear African-American voting blocks, which is why I'm so passionate and visceral about that 1965 Civil Rights Act. Nothing else counts for me. Not basketball, not football, none of that. Nothing else. Hey, happy Valentine's Day. So you can come back next week, Brooke, Keith. And that 1965 Civil Rights Act, they're trying to destroy it because it has so many of your rights in it. So many rights started from that. So many, including immigration. That's what people don't get, including the Immigration Nationality Act started with that act. So, Kenneth, I gotta go. If you want to stay on, stay on. But I gotta be somewhere by 11:30. So he's still glitching. So, you know, thanks for joining us, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Do something. Stacy, I'm gonna call you and talk about Morris Brown because I want to hear your perspective on some stuff that's going on over here. Anyway, peace, everybody.
You know, it's kind of funny. You and Stacey having all these side conversations. You know,
we can't understand you because you're glitching. You're glitching. We can't understand it. We're gonna get that work. We're gonna get that working next week, y'all. We'll get it so he can say all. I'm gonna let him have the whole show next week, y'all. He can have the whole show. We can't hear you.
Nah. All these side conversations.
We can't hear you. So we'll see y'all next week.